Hello, everyone. Mr. Johnson here, and welcome to another episode of the Artist Gallery. If you're my students, make sure you have your artist images so you can cut and paste those pictures into your sketchbook, and make sure you're taking the notes along with each image that appears up on the screen as we talk about them. So, let's dive in, shall we? Today's artist. I have to move my myself over here, so I'm out of the way. Today's artist is the Indian sculptor Subodh Gupta. So again, my students, make sure you're cutting and pasting his pictures into your sketchbook. While you're doing that, I'll give you a little bit of background information on him, and then we will dive right into taking a look at his artwork. So Subodh Gupta is a contemporary artist, means that he's working right now in the art field. He was born in 1964 in India, in a small town in Bihar. And he's known for his mixed media sculpture. That means he combines different elements together to create his artworks. And he uses common everyday objects that would have been found all over India, especially in the 80s and 90s, when he started doing a lot of this work, and mostly stainless steel objects. He has branched off of there, but this is what he's best known for. When Subodh Gupta was 12 years old, his father died, and his mother sent him to live with her brother, who was his uncle, for a few years in a very far, remote village in India. He finished school there, and after finishing school, he joined a theater group where he worked as an actor, and he also designed posters and advertisements for plays that he acted in. He also then started considering a career in the fine arts, and he worked part-time as an illustrator when he went to the College of Arts and Crafts in Patna between 1983 and 1988. He started out doing a lot of painting. He also incorporates photography, video, and performance art into his artworks, not only the sculptures of these large found objects that we'll talk about in a moment. He said he felt really lost when he left college. He didn't really know what he wanted to do and struggled for several years after graduating. He did get a break when he started exhibiting artwork in museums, and he had shows in museums in multiple different countries. And he is compared to the artist Marcel Duchamp, who we'll talk about, and some other artists that we'll look at in a little bit. He was relatively unknown in 2002 when he exhibited in the Armory Show in New York City. But he has since become one of India's most prosperous sculptors, and his artwork sells for huge amounts of money, and he is constantly named one of India's most famous and most successful artists. He's best known for incorporating everyday objects that are known all throughout India, common things that everyone would have. So we're going to dive into a few of these sculptures and start looking specifically about a few of these. I think they're really cool. So this one, and this is him, by the way. This is Subodh Gupta, right, sitting at the bottom of this sculpture. So you can see the size of it. This is called When Soak Becomes Spill in 2007, and is a mixed media sculpture made of stainless steel. So for this sculpture, Gupta created the large bucket, the large pail that is the vertical piece of the sculpture. So this he built, and then on top of it, he uses pots and pans and buckets and utensils from India to be like soap suds that are spilling over the edge of the bucket, which I think is a really cool concept. So from afar, you get the look of, oh, look, we're washing out this bucket and the bubbly soap is spilling out over the top. But when you get close up, this is made of hundreds of utensils and cooking objects from India that have all been welded together and then affixed on top of this giant stainless steel drum that Gupta has designed. So I think that's really cool. He thinks about where to place each of these objects. These are things like pots that you would cook in, and lids, cups and bowls and plates. There are mugs. There are kitchen utensils, all sorts of things that kind of make up this sculpture. I just think this is so cool, and the massive size of it is just fun because you see this, from blocks away. Also, the reflective nature of the stainless steel, because this is outdoors, it reflects the sunlight and it really gleams. It gives the look of, bubbling soap because it reflects the light that way. So I think that was really, really clever. Now, I have a very short video clip where you can watch Subodh Gupta build this sculpture and install it, and he talks about it a little bit. It's really neat to see how they put this together. So let me show you this clip where he talks a little bit about When Soak Becomes Spill from 2007. Just gonna let it play here. It's loading, but take a look. It's only 2 minutes long, so it's a kind of a don't blink, or you'll miss it thing. But it does show some really great kind of behind the scenes shots of how he puts this together.
Soak Become a Spill is basically many layer of my practice come in this particular works. Many work I made with my childhood memory. That particular time, 80% of the population in my country use a stainless steel utensil day to day, every day. And while I was cooking one day and looking those utensils, and I felt like I'm talking with those utensils, and I bring them in my sitting room. And that sitting room that time, my home was a studio and home, everything that time. And since then, I start working on this material, and it's been long time. Fabrication of this particular work, Soak Become a Spill, is also very interesting. It's taken a long journey. So I made this bucket in India, and then from there, the work traveled to the UK, and we sent the utensil from India to here, and we making it in the MTech, where they welding the utensils. MTech is technically very sound, and they're perfect to what they do in their job. So it's a perfect match for everything to make the precise piece, what we visualized it, and it's coming together. Vienna itself quite in the hub of the art and culture. People come from the world and they have to cross through this part of the section of the city. And it's the most important place for the children, to the adult, to the senior citizen, name it. And I think I can't be more fortunate to exhibiting something in Exhibition Road and be part of it. I think it's fantastic, and it's such a historical museum, and being part of something itself is a proud moment.
I think that's cool. So this was exhibited outside of the Victoria and Albert Museum in England. And I love that you could see that he built it in sections. I don't know if you could notice it, but all the spilled objects he made in sections, and then those were all welded together. So I thought that was pretty cool. No, I don't want to. No, next. Okay. So I think this one is incredible because it takes the same concept, but adds this, illusion of defying gravity. So this is called Ray from 2012, and again is made of stainless steel. And here it's a similar concept, But I love the composition of this because it really looks like it defies gravity. So here you have, again, this giant pail that was, is custom built, obviously, for this sculpture because it's huge. And then the spill out of this, again, are all of these household objects made of stainless steel from Indian culture. And these would all be things that people are used to, things that people used all the time, common objects. Gupta says that now, in 2020 and since the 2000s, people have used a wide variety of types of utensils in India. But he said earlier than this, when he started out sculpting, that the majority of households had stainless steel, pots and pans and utensils. So he said everyone would have recognized the, objects in this sculpture. So I love this. So in order to achieve this gravity-defying effect of the cup, with 30 feet up in the air, pouring out all of these objects, he would have to build a metal armature which goes inside the sculpture. So they're probably steel beams that are sunk way into the ground that make this structure, and then the sculpture is probably welded on and attached to that. So anytime you see this kind of large gravity-defying image, it has a steel structure on the inside so that it is, secure, and then the objects are added to the outside of that. But I think that is really, really cool. I don't know what the title means, but I think it's really awesome that it has this fascinating, look of all of these object things spilling out of this giant bucket. I think that's awesome. So this one is a bit different, and I think this is absolutely beautiful. I'm going to put the information on it, and then I'll take it away in a minute so that we can see the whole thing. This is called Dada, created in 2013, also made of stainless steel. And here, instead of the pail and bucket combination, this is obviously a whole tree that is custom built out of stainless steel for this sculpture. And then the leaves on the tree, right, are all the greenery are created out of those pots and pans and lunch boxes and kitchen silverware and tools. So he still gets the style that he's best known for into this sculpture, by making the leaves this assortment of objects. But you have these really beautiful organic shapes of the tree and the way that these branches twist and turn and the little vines, hang down. I think it is absolutely beautiful. I don't know if any of you have been to the Animal Kingdom in Walt Disney World, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of some of the trees from there. And I just think it's really, really stunning. Now, the name Dada here refers to an art movement called the Dada art movement, where art was made out of ordinary found objects. So here he is naming this sculpture after an art movement that inspired this style. He said he's often compared with Marcel Duchamp, who is a famous Dada artist who creates art out of ordinary found objects, everyday objects. So this becomes kind of an homage to the style of art that inspires this sculpture. And I think it's absolutely beautiful. I think that's really, really cool. I want to look at this all the time. I think it's really awesome. So here's one you don't have. Well, actually, it's two that you don't have. He has a series of skull sculptures called Mind Shut Down. And these are two different ones. And again, they are, a metal frame that is covered in all of these household objects from India. These would all be things that people were used to create the shape of this skull. So I think that's really cool, showing a skull made up of all of these common everyday objects, mostly stainless steel. And I think they're really, really beautiful. His face is just funny. But the skull made up out of pots and pans and cups and bowls, I think is just a great idea. Then the last one that you don't, the last one that you also don't have is called Head with a Gas Mask, made in 2008. This is a mixed media piece. It's not stainless steel. But here the head is fully sculpted, and the gas mask is made out of other household objects. So not stainless steel ones, but vases and bowls and cups and mugs that are wooden or ceramic or clay. And so they are all making that mask. So I think this is a really cool sculpture and very visually different from those bright silver, steel pieces that we have seen earlier from him. So I know you don't have this one, but I do think that it's really cool looking. So I wanted to include it just to show you some of the other things, that he does. If you like Subodh Gupta's artwork, Google him. There's tons of sculptures, paintings, video works, and photography that he's done. There's a lot out there. So I would like to know in the journal entry for my students, what is your reaction to Gupta's artwork? Do you enjoy art in this style? So again, when you finish your artist page for Subodh Gupta, take a photo of it, add it to the artist gallery assignment on Google Classroom. And then in the text box, answer this question: what's your reaction to Gupta's artwork? Do you enjoy art in this style? And next week, we'll be back with another Artist Gallery episode.